Good morning. I thought this would be a beautiful, fitting place to talk about the three-step process. Three-step process that is part of our spiritual practice, but also in multiple things in life, such as our relationships and even potentially, if you want to transition to living off prana, our addiction to food. The three-step process is actually beautifully explained by the saying, from something to nothing to everything. First, we find ourselves growing up in a world and identifying with certain things. Saying, if someone asks you, who am I? You say, well, I'm this person, I have these thoughts, these ideas, these beliefs, I have these feelings. Maybe you have a certain term, a certain thing you identify with, your job or your family. And once we reach a point, and that's not for everyone, where we say, okay, well, it's not satisfying, we come to the conclusion like, oh, okay, there's something behind everything. We start meditating, we dive into the silence, and we say, oh, okay, well, I'm not my thoughts because my thoughts come and go. I'm not my feelings. Similarly, they come and they go, they disappear and they come back in different forms. And also my body, which I always used to identify with, it's way different from when I was a small child. So it's not essential to me. So then we go from something, being something, to being nothing, realizing, okay, I'm the emptiness, I'm the stillness behind it, which is the Shiva aspect. Complete emptiness, the destroyer. And once we are established, at least to a certain degree there, we can dive back into life. We slowly start integrating and seeing that, okay, yes, I am this emptiness, but at the same time, I can connect with anything without the fear of losing myself. Then we go from something to nothing to everything. It's also sometimes explained as the via negativa and the via positiva, where the via negativa, you first disidentify with everything. It's like, okay, I'm not this, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, I'm not my body, I'm not my sensations, I'm not these labels I've always had. No, I am that in which everything is seen. I'm the emptiness, I'm the knower of everything. But it's a little bit distant. So once you're established in there, at least to a certain degree, and you're no longer afraid of getting lost in the multiplicity of life, you can slowly start diving back in. And you do the via positiva. You start embracing life fully, and you are able to walk on the market in the fullness of life without the fear of losing yourself. Because you realize there's nothing to lose yourself in, because you and life are not two. This three-step process is actually something that in other things in life is also quite applicable. If you talk about relationships, maybe for a long time you've always found yourself going into the same dysfunctional relationship, which is very clingy, which is really in a form that you are dependent on the other person for your happiness. Then it's interesting to see that the best way is to step out of it for a moment, to find yourself without the relationship to another, to be alone for a certain period and realize, okay, I can be at ease, I can be happy without any other half. And once you're established there, then you can go after the via negativa back into the via positiva. You can dive into a relationship, and when two people have their firm roots and they are able to be with themselves without any need for the other, then a beautiful love relationship can flourish. Again, we have the first we're lost in, then we a little bit distance ourselves and find that we are able to survive without a problem in that state, and then we can dive into the relationship. And similarly, quite beautifully linked to all the beautiful food stalls here. We have a addiction to food, and if it resonates with you to start living off prana, I'd recommend you really find a teacher who has completely embodied this. I still find myself being slightly in the transition from not having to eat to starting to go back into eating. So first we have a relationship with food which is dependent. I need the other, just in a love relationship, or when you're completely absorbed in the world of form and you identify with your thoughts and your feelings. Then we step out. Now I am in a transition where I no longer need to eat food, but I find still clingy behaviors where I sometimes I need to indulge. Once that is completely established, the emptiness, the space, the knowing which feeds itself, which doesn't require food for my nutrition, then slowly I can dive back into the fullness of food and actually create, which is seen in all these three examples, a true love relationship. I'll be able to eat for the joy of it, for the richness of the experience, but not with this tainted feeling of I need it for my well-being. Similarly with a love relationship, similarly with our spiritual process. We have walked through the three phases, from something to nothing to everything. And this everything is actually what is actually love. Because what is love? Love is the falling away of the sense of separation. And this can be with life, in a relationship, or with food. I wish you a great day.